And we are back. Welcome back to the channel. It is time for the first video of the Nations League prediction series for a brand new tournament. Today we're going to be talking about all of the fixtures taking place today in match day 1 of the Nations League, which means we are going to be uploading daily for the course of the next 6 days. And we cover every single match taking place in the Nations League over the course of this international break. And a reminder to you guys, if you did miss yesterday's video, even though we're not doing full-blown analysis of all of the other international games taking place across the rest of the world, I have posted all of my predictions for all of the AFCON, Asia Cup, World Cup qualification from South America and Oceania. All of those matches I have got predicted over on my community page, so a link to that will be available at the top of your screen and in the pinned comment of this video. So make sure you check that out so you don't miss out on any of the other predictions I have done over the course of this international break. But for the purposes of the videos that we will be doing on this channel, we will of course be dealing with every single Nations League game. And for those of you that are watching, you will see that off the back of the Premier League weekend that we just had, my season results have now gone to 58 correct predictions out of 93. And we've also got 3 correct scores this weekend in the Premier League. More on that when we get to next week's Premier League prediction video. But we are going to have all of my season results carried over throughout every single one of my series this year. So that is my season tally for the entirety of the season so far. 58 correct predictions out of 93. So without any further ado, if you haven't done so already, please do consider dropping a like on this video and subscribing to the channel if you are new around here. And then let's just get straight into it. The Nations League, starting off with everyone's favourite league. It is League D, and it is Group 1 of League D, and it is San Marino taking on Liechtenstein. Now, we could be on the cusp of football history this evening. In their entirety of existence, San Marino have never won a competitive football match. They have, however, won just one friendly. Guess who that friendly was against? That's right, it was Liechtenstein. That game was in 2004, so it was a solid 20 years ago, so none of those players are still playing, but this is the team that San Marino beat. So tonight could just be the night that San Marino get their first ever competitive win. Liechtenstein, in the same breath, haven't won a single game since 2020, so they've not won a match for 4 years either. The last time these two sides met was also in 2020, and it was a 0-0 draw. So, realistically, I do think there is a possibility where anything can happen in this match. However, even though I am a football romantic, the most likely scenario tonight is a Liechtenstein win. So I'm going to go for 1-0. It could very easily just be 0-0 again, but I do think there is going to be a winner. Obviously, I think it'd be amazing if it was San Marino for them to get their first ever competitive win. But realistically, it's going to be Liechtenstein. So I'm going to go for 1-0 to them. Moving on to the first group in League C. It is League C Group 1, which is the group of Azerbaijan, Sweden, Estonia, and Slovakia. And we start off with the only early kickoff of the night, which is Azerbaijan taking on Sweden. Now, these two sides actually played each other in Euros qualifying just a couple of years ago. And in those two matches, it was Azerbaijan that won 3-0 at home, and then it was Sweden who won 5-0 in their respective home games. So it does make this a little bit interesting in terms of the balance of the match. Obviously now Azerbaijan at home are going to be looking at that 3-0 win from a couple of years ago, thinking they can get another result. Equally, both of these sides are on a really, really poor run of form at the moment. So it isn't the easiest game to call. Everyone is obviously going to expect Sweden to get the win with the quality of players they've got available to them. But like I said, even with those players available, their recent form has been horrendous. So that would make me believe that Azerbaijan would have a chance. But like I said, Azerbaijan's form is also incredibly poor at the moment. So I am going to go for Sweden, but it's going to be a hesitant 2-1 win in favour of Sweden. I'm not going to go crazy and say like 3 or 4-0, which it very easily could be, but I'm going to go for 2-1 to the Swedes. The other game in that group sees Estonia taking on Slovakia, and to be honest with you, this one I think is a little bit easier to call. Slovakia obviously were very, very good at the European Championships, and defensively, more specifically, they were absolutely fantastic. That being said, Estonia, not on the best run of form, but even in defeat, they have been scoring goals. So the only real difficulty for me was just whether or not to give Estonia a goal in the Slovakia win. I've decided, though, to go for 3-0. I just don't think, with how good Slovakia's defence is, Estonia are going to grab a goal. And ultimately, I think it's just going to be an easy win for Slovakia. That then takes us on to League C, Group 3. I have to try and say that 5 times quickly in a row. And we start off with Northern Ireland taking on Luxembourg. These two sides have also met relatively recently, with Northern Ireland winning the away game the last time these sides met. It was a 3-1 victory for Northern Ireland. However, if you remember European qualifying, Luxembourg were a side that were quite frequently producing relatively strong upsets. Yes, they got hammered by Portugal, but they got some really good results in there. So I'm going to do what I did with the Sweden-Azerbaijan game. I'm going to go for a very hesitant 2-1 win to Northern Ireland. Northern Ireland should definitely win this game. But the way Luxembourg have played over the last 18 months, I really think they could potentially spring a surprise in this match. The other game in this group, I think, is actually the hardest one to call tonight. It's Belarus taking on Bulgaria. Really, really nothing to split between these two sides, because both of these sides have drawn 4 of their last 5. Belarus haven't scored in any of their last 4 matches. And Bulgaria, like I said, they've actually had 5 draws in their last 6 I've got on my notes here. So it's a really, really tough one to call. The head-to-head record would suggest Bulgaria are the stronger of the two sides, but they've not played each other for 4 years either. So it's tough. I really ummed and ahed over this one. I was very, very close for going for a 0-0 draw in this one, but ultimately I've gone for 1-0 to Bulgaria, just because I think the way Belarus have played recently, they've only, well, so they've not scored in any of their last 4 matches. So I just don't think they're going to have enough to get a result here. It's either going to be 0-0 or 1-0 to Bulgaria, in my opinion. Very much like the San Marino-Liechtenstein game. But I'm going to go for Bulgaria. But watch this space. Really, really tough one to call that one. That then brings us to League A, where obviously all of the big sides do reside. And we start off with League A Group 1. And a very, very tough game between Portugal and Croatia. Now, obviously, Croatia having another very good major tournament. Portugal, I think, slightly underperforming at the Euros, in my opinion. Really struggling to do anything in front of goal. Obviously, Cristiano Ronaldo, the main man, he is still continuing in the side. And the question really is now, is it time up for Ronaldo? Should he be making way for the likes of Diogo Jota, Rafael Leao, João Felix, Gonzalo Ramos, etc., etc., etc. But it is Ronaldo still carrying on. Now, what's really interesting about this one is that these two sides actually met as early as in June in a pre-Euro friendly, and Croatia actually won 2-1 away in Portugal. So the form, the momentum is all on Croatia's side, but I just don't have it in me to back against Portugal. Yes, I have a soft spot for Portugal, probably because of Ronaldo, but I'm going to go for 2-0 to Portugal. I think Croatia, again, they're not making any changes to their squad. It's still the same side. It's still going to be the likes of Modric in there. I don't know. I never really back Croatia, and they always do cause upsets, but I just think at home, I think the way Portugal are set up, the players they've got, they should be beating Croatia. So I'm going to go for 2-0. But again, watch this space. Very, very tough one to call that one. The other game in that group is also another very tough one to call. It is Scotland taking on Poland. Now, these two sides last met in 2022, which was also in Scotland, and that was a 1-1 draw. Poland's record at home to Scotland is very, very good. So more on that when these sides meet again in a few months' time. But I don't know. Again, everyone knows I never give Scotland any real credit, because I just don't think they're very good. A lot of people saying that they underperformed at the Euros off the back of qualifying for the Euros, and obviously off the back of getting promoted to League A in the Nations League, which is fair credit to them. But I just don't think they're very good. I don't think the quality of their player is up to the standards of certain other countries. And I do think on paper, Poland are just a better side than Scotland. The only thing Scotland have got going for them tonight is the fact that they're at home. So with that said, I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. But I still think Poland should be considered the favourites for this one. I really do. We'll see, because like I say, Scotland have been producing good performances recently, especially at home. But I just don't have it in me to give them the win tonight. I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. That then leaves the final group, which is League A Group 4. And we start off with Denmark taking on Switzerland, which is a very, very interesting one because Denmark have a very good home record. Switzerland were absolutely outstanding at the Euros. One of most people's favourite sides to watch at the Euros. Obviously defeated by England on penalties in the Euros. Denmark falling to Germany. So, again, it's a tough one to call. Again, kind of like what happened with Portugal and Croatia. These two sides played in a pre-Euro friendly. That ended 0-0. So, again, makes it really tough to call. But I think with the injuries that Denmark have, I think Switzerland have to go into this game considered the favourite. So I'm actually going to go for a 2-1 win to Switzerland, which may surprise a few of you. It's a bit of a risky one. To be fair, I think I've gone for a fair few risky ones in today's predictions, but that's probably the riskiest of the lot. But I do have a feeling that it is going to be the Swiss that come out on top against their Danish counterparts. And then finally, to round off the video, it is Serbia taking on the defending Nations League champions, the reigning European champions. It is, of course, Spain. Now, Spain have not lost a competitive match since losing to Scotland in their European qualifying matches way back in last March. So you're talking a solid 18 months since Spain last lost a competitive match. Obviously going on to win the Nations League, then not losing a single one of their remaining European qualifiers, then going on to win the Euros in the summer. Ultimately for Serbia, they are a good side, but again, I think they majorly underperformed at the Euros themselves. They're coming up against the European champions. I don't see this being any other result than the Spanish win. All that really matters is the scoreline, which I have gone for 2-0 to Spain. And that is going to be it for today's video. As always, let me know all of your thoughts down in the comment section below. Thank you very much for watching as always. Thank you very much for listening as always. And if you haven't done so already, please do consider checking out all of my remaining predictions for all of the other major international competitions taking place over the course of this international break over on the community page. Thank you very much once again. I'll see you very soon.